Welcome to June 7th, and this is the Askew Bible class. Before we get started, I want to say to those who have not heard that our Sunday school class has lost the presence of one of our members, and that is Carolyn Eccleston. She has gone to heaven to be with the Lord. I know the class will miss her, and I personally will miss her. We didn't talk every week. We didn't talk every day. But when we talked, we really talked. And so I know that Carolyn is smiling down at us, happy where she is. She's with her Barry. Our Sunday school lesson today is from Proverbs. And Proverbs can be called the wisdom teaching. So our first lesson in this series is listen to God's wisdom. The commentary in my Bible says that many people who are not Christians think that all Christianity is about is trying to act right so we can get to heaven. Well, it's that too, but it's also about living a happy life, a confident life, and a fulfilling and beneficial life on this earth. And so Proverbs, written largely by King Solomon, the son of King David, he's the author of this. Well, no, God is the author. He's the vehicle through which we're going to speak on it, okay? Proverbs, our lesson today comes from Proverbs, the first chapter, and there are a number of verses, 7, 8, 10, 20, 22, 32, and 33. But when I read from the Message, and which I'm going to do today, you'll see that I probably will include other verses because it flows better that way. I also want to announce, since we don't have our books anymore, the next Sunday's lesson, June 14th, the title of that lesson is Value Wisdom, and it comes from the second chapter of Proverbs, the 1st through the 22nd verses. And I want to thank my friend Joyce for this information, and she'll explain why if you ask her. I don't have to. Okay, let's get into the word. The wise sayings of Solomon. Written down so we'll know how to live. Live well and right, to understand what life means and where it's going. A manual for living. For learning what's right and just and fair. To teach the inexperienced the ropes and give our young people a grasp on reality. There's something here also for seasoned men and women, still a thing or two for the experienced to learn. Fresh wisdom to probe and penetrate the rhymes and reasons of wise men and women. Pay close attention, friend, to what your father tells you. Never forget what you learned at your mother's knee. Now, Solomon is assuming that your parents were giving you the right information, and you're certainly blessed if you had parents who were wise. If you didn't, you need to consider their wisdom, and does it sit right with God? Or consider what they taught you and ask yourself if it sits right with God, and if it doesn't, you can love them, but you don't have to follow what they taught you. That is, if you're an adult now. When you're a kid, you just got to do what they say. You'll get along better that way. Wear their counsel like flowers in your hair, like rings on your finger. Dear friend, if bad companions tempt you, don't go along with them. If they say, let's go out, and this is particularly interesting for this week, if they say, let's go out and raise some hell, let's beat up some old man, mug some old woman, let's pick them clean and get them ready for their funerals, we'll load up on quality loot, we'll haul it home by the truckload. Join us for the time of your life. Seems like somebody knew what was going to be happening in a small way in some of these protests this week. Join us for the time of your life. With us is share and share alike. Oh, friend, don't give them a second look. Don't listen to them for a minute. They're racing to a very bad end, hurrying to ruin everything they laid their hands on. Nobody robs a bank with everyone watching. Yet that's what these people are doing. They're doing themselves in. When you grab all you can get, that's what happens. The more you get, the less you are. Lady Wisdom goes out in the street and shouts at the town center. She makes her speech in the middle of the traffic. She takes her stand at the busiest corner, she calls out. Simpletons, how long will you wallow in ignorance? Cynics, how long will you feed your cynicism? Idiots, how long will you refuse to learn? About face, I can revise your life. Look, I'm ready to pour out my spirit on you. I'm ready to tell you all that I know. As it is, I've called, but you turned a deaf ear. I've reached out to you, but you've ignored me. Since you laugh at my counsel and make a joke of my advice, how can I take you seriously? I'll turn the tables and joke about your troubles. What if the roof falls in and your whole life goes to pieces? What if catastrophe strikes and there's nothing to show for your life but rubble and ashes? You'll need me then. You'll call for me, but don't expect an answer. No matter how hard you look, you won't find me because you hated knowledge and had nothing to do with the fear of God. Because you wouldn't take my advice and brushed aside all my efforts to train you. Well, you've made your bed, now lie in it. You wanted your way, now how do you like it? Don't you see what happens, you simpletons, you idiots? Carelessness kills, complacency is murder. First pay attention to me and then relax. Now you can take it easy. You're in good hands. And that's practically the first chapter of the book of Proverbs, which, as I said earlier, is the wisdom book of the Bible. I thought I might just give you a little definition of what wisdom is and what wisdom is not. And I wrote this. Wisdom is the art of living skillfully with positive results in whatever conditions we find ourselves. Economic, social, raising a child, conducting our friendships, our marital relationships, sexual decision-making, diet, health, the whole gamut. When we seek to understand what is the very best thing we can do, what will work, not what will look good to other people, not what somebody told us is the best way, but what will work toward the goal that we're trying to achieve. And you know what that one is? To do unto others as we would have others do unto us. To live a healthy life. To be in good relationships with all people. Not just the people we know, but with all people. This week, we have been experiencing the intention of so many young people and people of all races and ages to do what is right. They have protested the murder of a man named George Floyd. We've seen 2 funerals and we're going to see another one next week. And we've also seen some mistaken ideas by those who oppose this protest. I'm going to talk about the president. I believe our president needs to understand that violence begets violence. That when you have acted violently toward people, you rev up the anger and rage in them. And when over and over again, we have seen people, Native Americans, Asian people, Hispanic people, but certainly percentage-wise, African American people, males mostly, but males and females, brutalized and mistreated by a police agency that is supposed to be for the purpose of protecting people, even the people that they have in their custody. George Floyd was in their custody. It was their job to do right by him. They were supposed to apprehend him, maybe, but they were supposed to do it in a way that sustained his life, not took his life away. And so for one of the first times, we're seeing an uprising that resulted in 4 policemen being arrested, and they will go to trial for homicide, for murder. This is not being considered just everyday policing. It is now looked upon as brutality. I watched as a 75-year-old man. I don't know, I can't remember if it was in Brooklyn or Boston, but he approached the police. They pushed him down. He hit his head on something, and the blood was coming out of his head. I saw one of the policemen turn around, and the other one yank him back. They marched on. They left this man on this pavement. That is not the way that they would want to be treated. I have talked to a lot of people, and some people want to talk about the looters. Well, I don't care. They shouldn't be looting. Well, of course they shouldn't. You shouldn't steal or break other people's property, break windows so that, people have to get the insurance involved. And if you know how insurance is, if something happens like that, the insurance might come up. But what you have got to understand is that the same rage that caused slavery, the same rage that caused people to take other people's children away and sell them, the same rage that caused a lynch mob to go into a community, a white lynch mob, to go into a community and kill people, get babies and women and men out of their beds after having lynched a man that they later found out may have stepped on a lady's foot. When she yelled, they thought it was their job to defend her femininity. I don't know. But that same rage is what has built up in these young people who believe that the only way that they can express themselves is by breaking something. Yeah, there were some people in there who took an opportunity to go in the store and get a dress or whatever. And there may have even been people from the other side of the idea of being against police brutality who said, I'll get in there and I'll do some things and it'll look like the protesters are doing it. But you know what? We've heard some good sermons this week too. If you haven't had a chance to listen to what Al Sharpton said, or the minister in North Carolina, if you haven't had a chance to listen to them, or if you haven't heard Dr. Harshaw, who said, yes, the windows for the Family Life Center got broken out, people will come together, we'll clean it up, we'll get them replaced, but we will not have hate in our hearts toward the people who did this, because that's not the solution to what is going on. The only answer is love. The only answer is going to the highest form of treating other people the way that you want to be treated. And here's some wisdom for you, and I'm going to stop at this. What we need to do as we live is to understand some very basic things. I'm not better than a because I'm 73-year-old, a 73-year-old than a 3-year-old. You're not better because your skin is white and mine is black. I'm not better because I have a master's degree and you didn't finish 3rd grade. I want to tell you, I have a grandmother who sent her son to Tuskegee Institute and she had a 3rd grade education. I am not better because I can paint and you can't. I am not better and you're not better because some IQ test puts your number at XYZ. I am not better because I can pay my bills than the person who can't. Those things don't make us better. As a matter of fact, there's not one of us that by virtue of some label is better than the other. The Sunday school teacher is not better than her classmates or quote-unquote students. The minister is not better than the lay people in the pew. The deacon is not better than the choir member. The choir member that can sing a solo is not better than the one who just harmonizes with the rest of the group. Guess what else? I'm not better because I'm living and someone else has passed on. These things that we attach to ourselves to make us feel good about ourselves does not make us better. Now, I will tell you that there's some things that can improve your life, but it doesn't make you better. And here's what I'd like for you to consider. Those of you who think you are better than somebody else because of the color of your skin or how long your hair grows or whether your hair is straight or whether your hair like mine is nappy or whether you wear glasses to read or don't. If you think that you're better, then ask yourself who you think God is. Because see, he wrote your story. He gave you the color of your skin. How on earth could you think that God would create anything inferior? Why do you think that Jesus would tell us all those wonderful blessings? Blessed are the poor. Why would the poor inherit the earth or the meek or anybody? Unless there is something that we learn while we're here that makes us know that we are children of God and the person stands next to us is a child of God too, which makes them our brother or our sister. I just want to say how proud I am of those young people who stood up. In many of those demonstrations, there was a majority of white people, but there were also Native Americans, Asians, Mexicans. This is America. We are who we are because of what we bring to the picture, because of the differences that we have, but also the similarities. And I am not believing that we are ready to change yet. I believe this is a step, but it's going to be a long ladder to climb because too many people want to think that they're better than somebody else. This is the wisdom I want to share with you today. I also want to suggest, and it's been suggested by all of the health experts, if you participated in the protest, please go and get yourself tested because we are told by science that the closer that we get to somebody who may even be asymptomatic, we can catch this virus. No, I was not in the crowd. Yes, I'm still social distancing. Am I afraid? No. I'm just doing what I believe thus saith the Lord. I'm staying home. I'm not infecting anybody. I don't know if I've have it or not because I've not been tested. And I think it requires all of us to consider ourselves just a piece of the work that it's going to take to to get this coronavirus out of the world. And we do it by washing our hands, putting on our masks, staying 6 feet away from each other, and staying inside until it's gone. I love you, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.